Hello everybody and welcome back to Leader to the TV. If it's not your first time here, if it is your first time, I see you. Thank you for subscribing, and if you haven't already, you know what to do. Go subscribe, click on the notification bell so that you are notified when I post a new video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about working in Italy as a black person of African descent, as an African person. I've invited a few friends, a couple of friends, to talk about their experiences, and I'll talk about my experiences because I realized that so many people ask me what it has been like finding work in Italy, the experiences in the workplace, and I thought, why not talk about this and share our opinions? Obviously, guys, these are our personal experiences, so it doesn't mean that what I experience is the same thing that someone else is going to experience. I'm talking about my personal experiences and the experiences of my two friends that I've invited. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, then stay tuned. So over here I have Hilda, who is on my channel all the time because she's my bestie. You've seen her before. Hilda, introduce yourself, darling.
I work in Italy and I work in two industries. I work in education for my day job, and I also work in fashion for my business.
And over here I have Joel. Joel is my boy, and let him introduce himself.
Well, I'm Adija Everlasting. I'm sure you've seen me on my video, on a video with her.
Yeah, so eating chicken. But it's a totally different video.
I'm Adija Everlasting and I work in accounting.
Okay, thank you for making time to come.
Thank you for
Seriously, it's
inviting me.
hard to catch this guy. Hard. So anyway, guys, now let's just sit down and get talking. Okay, guys, like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about the work industry in Italy as an African. We're all Africans here. I'm from Uganda. Hilda is from Uganda, and Joel is from Nigeria. So I'll start by mentioning maybe what we do and how we got to the jobs we got to, and what advice we could have for someone, because I get this asked a lot. Do people usually ask you how it is to work here, or they want to work here? What are the steps to work here? Yeah, I get these questions asked a lot. So I work in an administrative position, and Hilda here.
I work in the education sector and in fashion.
And I work in accounting.
And he's into accounting. So can I start with asking how you got your jobs? Was it something that you applied for before you came to Italy, or did you find the jobs while you were in Italy?
I found mine through the university.
Oh.
So I started as an intern with them.
Okay.
I graduated, so I did my master's degree here, and I got the job like 2 years after. Then
Did the university help you find it?
in a way, yes.
Oh, cool.
Because most companies send applications to universities and ask them for graduating students who want to intern with them. So that's how I started mine.
Okay, and this has been your first job and your job in Italy?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Alright,
Cool.
Okay.
And for you?
For me, I had to apply. I actually saw the advert in a magazine. For my job in education, I saw the advert in a magazine, and I applied. And then it was like really easy because they were looking for English speakers for this particular job. And I wasn't very fluent in Italian, so that is how I got the job.
It was an easy way in, right?
It was very easy.
Just FYI, in Italy, if you're an English speaker, it always gives you an added advantage. It always helps to be an English speaker. In your company, did it matter?
When I started, so basically I applied to a lot of jobs and I was not speaking Italian then. I always tell people to learn the language in the country you live is very, very important.
Very important.
Apart from like your social life, also it's important where you work, because most of the rejections I got then was like, oh, you speak English, but you cannot communicate or connect with other workers here because they don't speak English. Which means they can't hire you because they wanted also a social rapport with your colleagues.
And that's the other thing. You may be working in English, but with the colleagues,
you will not have a social rapport.
Yeah. So, advice number one: learn the language of the country living in this case, Italian.
Importante.
Importante.
To continue with what I was saying, in fashion, it is my own business. So I must say that the contracts, people just usually just contact me from my social media and from my blog and from my YouTube channel. It's rare that I actually go out and pitch out to people. They usually just write to me, brands just write to me.
Okay, I think that helps.
They apply to
an entrepreneur gives you that. I'm sorry, we're diverting a bit from the line of conversation I intended. But as an entrepreneur, how easy has it been for you in Italy? How easy is it to be an entrepreneur in Italy?
I think that's a topic on its own that
Yeah.
we need to come here and talk about. But I must.
She does this kind of videos on her channel, by the
Yeah, I
way.
do. It's not a bed of roses, but it's also not very impossible. It is definitely possible. You're going to, just like you mentioned, Italian. You need the local language if you want to get into the local market.
Okay.
And to reach out and to be relatable to the local people, because if I'm in Italy and the people in Italy cannot relate with me, then there is nobody I'm influencing.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how easy do you think it is to find work in Italy as a person of color, as an African man, as an African woman?
I think it's not easy everywhere, but it's not impossible.
Okay.
That's what I would say. It's not easy, and also it's not like impossible.
Okay.
I believe like everyone has different lucks. So your luck might be different from mine. I always tell people, things will work out if they will work out. So
Okay. Hilda, do you feel like being an African or a person of color, it affects in the hiring process for you, or do you
It
think
does.
it does? In Italy, do you think it affects who will hire you, if they will hire you?
Yeah, I must say that after graduation, it took me 6 months to get my job. It took me 6 months, while it took my colleagues, 0 days. Right from graduation, they got a job through the university. I didn't get that because most of the companies say that, sorry, we have been looking for somebody that is, for example, of this origin.
Oh.
Of this origin, or we preferred somebody who is of this origin.
And they would say so?
Yes, exactly.
Openly?
They would say openly. They would say, "We're really sorry." I would go all the way to interviews, and then they would tell me this. And then, not everybody, but for most of the jobs, which I found unfair, I thought they would either select me or not select me based on my ability and what I can do. And for some of the companies,
they would select you not based on your ability.
No, what they would use is that you are really good and we would really like your profile, but we're looking for this particular kind of person of this origin. We would prefer somebody who is, for example, of a German origin.
Okay.
Because they would be able to relate with someone.
With maybe some German clans.
Exactly. But then the job description usually never mentioned any of that or required any of that. Or they would say we would prefer somebody Italian. Or we would call you if you don't find somebody of this particular, I would say, characteristics.
Yeah.
And for me, I thought that was unfair because they used not to look at what I could do, they didn't give me the chance
but where you're from.
Exactly, but where I am from. Whereas my black friends that were from, let's say, the UK or America, just got in easily like that.
So it wasn't even about you being a person of color, but it's a person of color from Africa. Okay.
Even for the English jobs.
Do you mean in your education sector?
Maybe in your sector because they want
I didn't apply to
someone from a particular country?
They didn't, that does apply, but initially I didn't apply for that because we're going to that question because I'm not working. I didn't study to be, in the education sector.
Okay. Because I believe that comes from, because I know some English jobs, they'll be like, they want people with an American accent or the British accent. So that's why they would rather choose from someone from the UK because of the English language and the English accent is different from African accents. So
I once applied for a job in a Canadian school and they wanted a person with Canadian English. I speak English perfectly, I would like to believe, but they wanted someone who could speak like a Canadian.
Yeah, it's happens a lot.
So,
it's usually one of their selling lines. For example, if it is the American school of Italy, let me just say that as an example, that is their selling line, we're teaching them American English. So they would,
American.
Exactly. So they would prefer that the employee or the people that work in this industry, whether they're educators or whether they're like admin staff, the whole environment is American, so that the child can easily adapt. But what I'm talking about is jobs where
It doesn't matter.
It didn't really matter.
Okay.
Yeah, that is
I
where,
get that.
yeah, that is my point.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very interesting because, I mean, how I got my job is also very interesting because I didn't put my photo on my profile. I stopped putting a photo on my profile.
Oh, in Italy, the resumes
Yeah.
have the photo, which apparently is not a common thing in
not
other parts of
okay.
the world.
It's not okay, yeah.
And there's actually been a conversation about this. Is it okay to ask me to put my photo on there? Or what do my looks have to do with what I can
can't
be?
do, exactly.
So what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section. What do you think about this thing where the resume has to have the picture on?
I think I always have my picture in my resume.
Yeah, but how do you feel about it?
You know what you're getting at the I don't
You
want
know what you're getting.
I don't want to get there and be like, oh, sorry.
Okay. Which is a thing I said once when we were having this conversation. I'm on the edge about this photo thing. One, I'm okay with it because I'm like, okay, if you have a problem with how a particular person is going to look physically in your industry, in your work environment, then let me give you my face so that you know what face you're getting. And you're not sure. The fact that you call me after you've seen my face means that, okay, now you want to see more of me.
Exactly.
If you're calling me without seeing my face, it means,
So you get the handbrake, so like,
that is how I got my job, by the way, by removing the photo and by removing the nationality.
you think that contributed to you getting the job?
It did contribute a lot because then they gave me a chance to speak. And then
To see who you are.
And then they gave me a chance to try. So they actually sort of like, oh, really? And then they actually gave me the job. But before they used not to give me a chance to actually even try to show them what I can do or what I'm capable of, or even to speak about my CV, they would just probably see, okay, African descent and my long African name, and then I know, sorry. So I
did you have to change your name as well?
No, I put all my names, but my email address was different. I just got, for example, let's say, lindawhite@gmail.com.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
So you see, everyone has different experiences. To be honest, I've always had my picture on there. I've had my age on there because that's another thing, which is another topic. Because if you're over a certain age, in a certain age bracket, they prefer younger people, even if you have that experience and the expertise, which for me I think is really not right. But I've always put my name and everything on, and I actually got I've been called, well, I've sent out so many resumes and not been called. I can't tell you why I wasn't called, but my picture has always been there, so probably there was one person who said, we're not taking her. So I think it's different for everyone, and that's why it's very important for you to understand that everyone's experience is different depending also on the industry.
Yeah.
So moving on, how have your experiences been with colleagues, with friends? Would you say fairly good? Listen, work politics is everywhere in every part of the world, but how have your experiences been generally speaking?
First of all, your colleagues are not your friends.
We say that all the time.
Your colleagues are not your friends.
They're your colleagues.
If you go to work, learn to differentiate, your professional profile from your personal profile, I would say.
Okay.
So it is okay, sometimes it's a bit of bitchiness and all these things, but generally for me, I have had a good work environment in general. I have gone from jobs to jobs and I'm comfortably able to go back to those workplaces and have a drink with those colleagues, and I am comfortable and I am fine.
Okay.
They have invited me to their weddings, to parties, and I still go out with them and it's still so cool. But there's always that one that is always like, I don't want to
You
be
push that one in her place.
Exactly.
In her place. And Joe,
I always differentiate my personal life with my working life or professional life. I'm friends with my colleagues. I love my colleagues. I play with them and everything. And I just make sure it ends over there.
Yeah.
And one thing about Italians is like Italians, they want to know more about you outside of work.
They're curious.
It's kind of like different for me because I'm like, I don't talk about my work with my friends. I don't talk about my friends with my work.
Like you mean your friends out of work?
Yeah.
You don't talk about work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I just make everything different because it's like
You separate.
my life is my life, my work is my work. I don't really have colleagues that comes to my house. We make our work. They are just cool. I love my colleagues. I play with them at work.
But that's
but that's it because you don't want something because your personal life can kind of like make some discussion about work, which is I'm not comfortable with. So it's just like you be at work, be at work. You be at home, be at home. So that's why.
But generally, do you feel like Italians mix work and like usually the workspaces you've been in? Do you feel like Italians have a different work,
I think
a
it's
different
different
perspective?
for us as an African because I remember I would be in a meeting and the first 10 minutes everybody was talking about their family, their wife, their children,
Their holidays.
and I'm just like, okay, I'm just talking about work.
Okay, yeah, there is that familiarity that you're like,
Oh, what did
The
you do
first
this
thing,
weekend?
the first thing from vacation is no work. Everybody's talking about their holidays when they went.
Which I know it's strengthens the professional life of colleagues. Everybody wants to talk about what did you do this weekend, where did you go? I'm like, okay, if I start telling you
my private life.
you start thinking, okay, well, how is it getting money for and someone who travels a lot, I don't want them thinking something else.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get too nosy, I must say.
Okay, so I think that's also something, yeah, I've learned that as well. I'm a very social person, I love my colleagues, and I try to create that atmosphere of friendship, but I create boundaries as well. So I know that I'm not gonna come here and tell you and bitch about my husband to you. I'm not gonna, no, when we're at work, we're gonna talk about work stuff, the things we love, the things you love. Even a little bit of maybe who's dating, if they want to tell us, we'll listen, but we're not gonna mix stuff up so much. And I think that's very important for any workspace.
It is very important, but some of my colleagues, I haven't had the chance to work with so many Italians because most of my work
you work in a
international.
foreign.
Yeah, so I work in a multinational company, and most of my colleagues have always been international. But I must say that we are different from them as Africans. Much as I would like to come to work and just let it just be work, and when I leave, I undress all the work and leave it there, and then go be myself at home.
That's
So what they want, they always think that I'm not, very open, or I don't want to involve them. I don't want to invite them. And usually when they have these weekend invites, really I don't go if it's in somebody's home because it goes from let's have a dinner to getting so deep about So whenever they invite me and I can't make it, I will never make it.
I mean, you are really right because they want to get
into your private life.
It's kind of different, bro.
It's
Honestly,
okay.
because I will never have. I used to have a colleague that anytime she had a quarrel at home with the family, she brings the attitude to work.
Mm-hmm.
I will never have a bad day outside and bring it to work.
Okay, you know where to draw the line.
I still smile with you even if my life is crashing out of work.
Yeah.
I will smile, I will do it because I know how many hours I'm spending. After this, I'm going to my problem and my sorrows.
Yeah.
So basically, I don't give them the chance to be like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think we Africans are different that way. That we want to keep things like,
Work,
separate.
personal life.
Cool. That is the second advice, or the third. I don't know how many we've given. Separate your work life and your private life. Also because culturally, there's so many things that are going to happen in my private life that they may not understand, and vice versa. I'm gonna come and tell you things about my African family, and you'll be like, what? But same as they tell us things, and you're like, what? Did that happen? So, okay.
I was reading something online the other day, and the guy said, I was telling I was telling my colleagues about a joke, and they started crying. Oh my God, we're sorry for you. Like, wait, that was a joke.
The humor is like
They
different.
don't get it sometimes, and sometimes what they think is comic or funny to you is like really.
That brings me to another thing. Do you feel, or does it happen? I don't know if it has happened to you guys, because it has happened to me at my former place. I used to work in hospitality, and sometimes some colleagues used to make these jokes that I'm someone who doesn't take things so heavy. I'm kind of like an easygoing person, but sometimes they're gonna make a joke about my descent, and I'm like, you're stepping on my feet right now. You're crossing boundaries. Has it happened to you where people make, I won't call them racist jokes, but yeah, and you're like, no, you don't make that joke with me. Has that happened? Or someone asks something like, oh, in Africa, do you have internet connection? And I'm like,
Yes.
go and inform yourself.
It's Apple. Sometimes depending on the relation you have with your colleagues, I really don't get angry when they say something. I know it's a joke. I don't get. See, if it's something I know.
You know when to get offended and when not to get offended.
Yeah, I don't really get offended at work. So I basically just try to say things I know if it's a joke or if it's like the minute I have to like let them know or understand. Most of these people have not been to Africa before, they don't know how it is, you know. But then you have to educate them on things, you know. And if it's a joke, you just know it's a joke and you just know.
I say that as well all the time. Not everything is meant to be aggressive, but you can tell, like you're saying, you can tell when someone is trying to sneakily offend you. Then you can tell when someone is genuinely curious. What's your experience being Hilda?
I must say that, well, most of the people that I'm working with, you know, they've traveled, at least they've left their home and gone to another country. So they're not so new to seeing blackface. They're not so new to seeing different hair every day. If I want to change my hair every day, I can. And nobody will really ask me, they'll just compliment it. Oh, I like that blue wig, oh, I like that pink wig. And I'm really free at my workplace, like, wait, you can be blonde on Monday, brown on Tuesday, ginger.
That's nice.
I mean, I can have no hair and nobody's going to be bothered because it's very diverse. Everybody looks different and it's okay. But then, majority of them being white, sometimes try it, like you said. They try it, they can be like, it must be really hot for you right now.
You get that?
Yeah.
For me, it's on the contrary.
It must be really hot for you right now. I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Why is it so hot for you? Why are you dressed like this? And I'm like, okay guys, if you're feeling hot, I'm feeling hot as well.
Yeah,
do you think that I should be used to that kind of heat and then come in my long-sleeve clothes? Okay. But anyway, they try it, but then, like you say, just let your colleagues know that there's a line they should never cross.
Right. And, I've generally been happy. Did you ever feel like you're being treated differently at work because of where you come from?
Generally not.
But that I don't mean that. Sorry to interrupt. I don't mean that in a negative way only. Also in a positive way. Do you think that you've had some different experiences, some different preconceptions, or some different treatment because of where you come from?
I think it's been a fair game for all my jobs. It's been a fair game for all my jobs because I mean, my job is more like how productive you are.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what you dress like, doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter. You have to just do your job.
Right. And for you, Joel, do you feel like being a black guy has changed anything from how, are they treating you different?
No.
What's your answer?
For me, yes. Not necessarily in a negative way, but I used to work in hospitality. And we're always talking to people, and sometimes when Africans from whatever part of Africa would come to the premises, they would always call me and they say, "Come and bring your Afro vibe here," because they're like, "You guys have a vibe," and they would always call me, and I'm like, "Guys, you can bring the vibe too, if African clients come, join them and join them." But they're like, "No, when you guys are together, there's a vibe you have." So it's not treating me different, but it's having this preconception that we have this energy, which we do, guys. Let's be honest, we got the energy. So yeah, basically that's that. Just to wrap up this video, I don't want it to be so long because we'll also have a part 2 asking different people in different industries, also a Q&A. So if you have any questions about working in Italy, because you guys keep asking me my DM, ask them right here and then we'll answer them in another, in another video. Just one thing, advice to someone who is trying to find work in Italy. What should they do? What should their expectations be? Both one who's already living in Italy and one who's back home in Africa, maybe, and they're planning to come to Italy.
One of the things I would say is first thing is being a black person working in a white environment, you have to prove yourself harder than other people because you represent us. What you do is what they think other black people
do.
So basically, you have to be very honest. You have to work harder. You have to show yourself that we can work. We want to work. We love this job, and that's one. And if you want to ask for my advice, working, just believe in yourself. Rejection doesn't mean failure, and attitude matters.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Joel. Those are very profound pieces of advice. Hilda?
Well, my industry, depends so much on what you look like. Because usually in education, your mood and what you look like really
How you present
yourself really matters. You do not just walk into a job and you're careless and you're shabby and that is not acceptable. Also the same in fashion, so presentation really matters. If you'd like people to address you in a certain way or to treat you in a certain way, you have to look a certain way. You have to look the part, in other words. The other thing is that there's a high level of unemployment in this country, so do not come thinking that you're going to find a job.
Over 10% unemployment rates in Italy.
Yeah, so when you come here, be ready first of all to learn the language. If you have to do, a second degree or diploma or a certificate, do it. And just be open, send out CVs. I sent out more than 500 CVs, and sometimes 200 people do not even respond, like they didn't see the CV. So just don't give up sending out CVs, and then finally you find a job. The other thing is that you are not a tree, you're not stagnant. If you find out that things are not working in Italy, move. Like, if you try...
Period.
If you try 1 year, 2 years, you're wasting your time.
Okay.
If things are not working out, try in other cities, in other countries. Your chances might be somewhere else, or even in Africa. So don't think you're escaping Africa to come to a green, pastures kind of thing. Things can either work out or not work out. So be open to both.
Okay. And my last piece of advice, they've said it all honestly, is to keep an open mind, because I know there are people who tell you, I'm here and I want to do this particular type of job. I don't know, you guys are working in your industries, are you working in your same professions, in what you graduated? Yes, you are, and are you?
He's working in my profession.
Okay, maybe you should switch jobs. But you should have an open mind when you move as an African in a foreign land out here in the West. Your mind has to really be open to whatever hits you. I am a graduate in international business. I've worked in hospitality. I've worked in administration, in things that really were not that connected, but what I studied helps me in the other industries. But be open to trying new things, to learning new skills, okay? That is the one thing. And like they mentioned, the language and attitude. Attitude is very important. Guys, if you've made it to this point of the videos, thank you for sticking around. We're definitely going to have a part 2 of this conversation because I really like this conversation. He has a YouTube channel. Down there, you're going to see his YouTube name, and she has a YouTube channel as well. Everything's going to be down there. If you haven't subscribed, like I mentioned, click that button right now and leave me a like. I guess that's it. Thank you guys for coming, and see you in my next one.
Bye.